Hello guys, David here. It is Thursday evening, about 5:16. So anyway, just thought I'd stop in for just a minute. I'm smoking some Revor Plug. Thank you to Mark Welsh Piper in my Falcon Pipe. Thought it was an appropriate combination since Falcon is clearly associated nowadays with Great Britain, and Revor Plug was sent from there, from, again, Mark. Good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. Use my knife to slice off in very thin pieces and put my pipe. Lit very well. It's a good smoke. It's kept going without a problem. Out here typing up an agenda for tonight's pulpit committee meeting, which starts at 6:30, a little over an hour. I actually need to get in the house, take a shower, and get ready for that, but I wanted to get an agenda typed out. At this point, the pastoral search isn't going very well. We've had a couple of guys apply. One guy, he looked pretty good, looked like a good prospect. However, we didn't want to pay him enough, so much for that one. I figure that God's going to put this on someone's heart, and they will come to our church, and the money will be adequate for them. We don't have a lot to pay, although I think the pastor actually makes as much as I do. So, I mean, that's not chicken feed. Of course, it would be if my wife wasn't working and making more money. But anyway, gets paid a pretty good amount plus a housing supplement. What's it called? But anyway, he gets paid extra money to pay for the house payment. I think it's a couple thousand a month. I think the position is $4,000 a month plus about $2,000 for a housing allowance. So, $6,000 a month. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, I guess it's not for the rest of California. For Kern County, it's adequate. Anywhere else in the state wouldn't probably work unless you went to a small town. But anyway, having said all that, I'm pretty sure God's going to send the right person at the right time. The problem is we're running out of time. Our pastor's going to be resigning. Well, he retires the last day of the 29th, the last day of December. That will be his last Sunday preaching. 4 Sundays in January. I found 2 guest speakers to cover the 5th and the 26th. We've got a couple openings in the middle, so we're trying to find people. My pastor mentioned my name and said that I should speak, but I'm not really a public speaker. I mean, it's funny because I've taught for years and years. I taught adult men in a correctional facility for about 13 years. Taught junior high kids for about 5 years, and I've done a lot of subbing, in between. But to speak to other members of my church, I would feel inadequate to do that. Kind of like Moses did, I guess. Like, God, can't you find a better person to do this than me? Anyway, I won't be doing that. I get nervous, especially on people who've known me my entire life. There's just something especially difficult about that for some reason. Anyway, so we've got to find somebody. Now, our denomination, Church of God, Anderson, Indiana, we have a program that I didn't know about until recently, and basically the main church will provide an interim pastor. In fact, they have a panel of pastors that they will basically let you choose from. While your church is looking for a pastor. The only requirement is that you pay the association the same amount that you're paying your current pastor, which I guess is fair. So they send someone that you like. You get to meet with people, probably via Zoom call, ask questions, find someone you're comfortable with as your congregation, for your congregation, and they send that person. Now, they must have people all throughout the states, the nation, because unless they just send someone who's willing to travel, I guess. They'd have to find housing and all that. So anyway, you pay them what your pastor's making. They will provide you 6 months at a time. You have to sign a contract for 6 months. And at the end of that, if it's not working out, then you basically end the contract. Or if you haven't found the pastor, I guess you would continue. But hopefully, we could find someone. Now, these pastors aren't ones that will work and leave their current position to become your full-time pastor. They're just interim pastors. So, I'm going to bring that up tonight because it's hard getting people to preach in your church. One thing I found out also is that when someone volunteers to preach, an example, I had a friend of mine, a gentleman that I've known for about 20 years, told me he would be interested in preaching at the church. So I said, all right, great. I'll talk with the pulpit committee. We'll get you signed up for a Sunday in January. So I thought all was well. But when I told them about it, there were several people in the group that had some concerns about this individual. And they wanted me basically to tell him that it might not be the best idea. But I couldn't do that. This guy's been a friend of mine for 20 years, even though that's part of my position, I guess. But so I called all the members, talked to them, explained to them that while it might inconvenience the congregation for a Sunday, if he spoke too long, maybe said something a little too direct to the combination of the body, they were really concerned about that. Him not preaching a positive sermon, but maybe a lecture to the church, which, hey, if we need it, that's perfectly fine in my opinion. But anyway, they didn't want that, so they wanted me to tell them no. Well, I couldn't do it. So I called them, canvassed, felt like a politician, called them all, explained to them my feelings, and we agreed that we would go ahead with it based on it. I need to have a meeting with this gentleman and another man from the pulpit committee to talk to him and ask what he wants to talk about. Problem is, his wife was got her feelings hurt in the church about a year ago, and they're afraid he's going to let us have it, which I think would be kind of justified. I was at the meeting, and his wife was kind of dealt with incorrectly, in my opinion. But churches are so weird, Anyway, all that to say, it's hard to... Sorry, guys. All that to say, it's hard to find interim pastors, guest speakers. Excuse me. Got my Christmas cup mug here with some coffee that I warmed up from this morning. So anyway, all that to say, it's difficult to find guest speakers, and I hope we can go with this rent-a-pastor thing program that they have. Well, it's almost 5:30. I got to take a shower and get to the church by 6:30, so I'll let you guys go. I hope I didn't provide too much information with things, but I think it's pretty much the same with all churches. I think we all deal with people and personalities and have difficulties like that and petty things that come up in churches. Sometimes it just makes you feel like not going to church. But I know we're supposed to meet with other brothers and sisters. It's like a family. And I explained this to the people who were kind of opposed to this gentleman speaking. I said, well, we're like a family. If we tell him he can't, it's going to hurt him for a long time. He'll always remember that about our church. But if we have to be inconvenienced for one Sunday because maybe he'll preach too long, or he speaks too slowly, or stutters, or whatever, maybe he'll give us some fire and brimstone, or maybe he'll let us have it for mistreating his wife. We're still a family, and you have to love your family members, even if you don't agree with them all the time. You have to love them. And we're Christians. We're called by Christ to love our brothers and sisters. So anyway, having said all that, I'm going to go take a shower. Hope you guys have a nice evening. I'll talk with you soon. God bless you.